Yes, indeed.
Hello, my peoples. This is Howie. It is the 19th of February, 2019, 12:31 p.m. And I'm reviewing the stocks. One sold off this morning, so we'll start there. A weed stock. This was the most volatile of all the stocks in my portfolio, with an average true range of 5.74%, which is fairly monstrous. So this stock, it moved up 5% the day after I bought it, so I was able to move the stop loss to break even. But you can say, even though the stop loss was set at 62.36, if I bring up the chart here, you will see that at the beginning of the day, this is 2 days, so right here at the beginning of today, the stock opened at basically 61.80 something and tanked down to $60.90 in the first 5-minute candle. So my stop loss was triggered, and it opened, a good gap down from where it closed on Friday. So that basically is the risk you take when you have a stop loss, because if it gaps down overnight, you could sell off quite a bit below even. So even though this was technically stopped at break even, I actually lost 1.5% on the trade, or $279, but that one's completed. I'm just marking them as gray when they are completed, just so that it's easy to understand. The second thing I didn't realize until just now was this statistic of the TSX overall. I think in my last video I had it shown as like 3 point something percent, which wasn't actually accurate. I had actually put the close on February 6th of 2018 instead of 2019, so it was showing a much bigger profit and loss than the actual market was showing. So I fixed that. And as of this morning, the TSX was only up 0.9% over this range. Now it's up a good solid 0.58% more, so you can see the numbers moved up. But it's a more accurate depiction of how we're doing versus the market. So all these stocks in our portfolio are up 1.27%, and the market overall is 1.49%. So that is a little bit more consistent. Now the two stocks I picked up at the end of day on Friday, LNR. We'll look at that one first. So that one, again, there wasn't much of a difference between buying it at market close versus buying it at market open. I think I entered it fairly poorly at $50, and let me look at that, $50.46. So if you remember, on Friday, I entered around here. But it's pulled up on the day, and it's up marginally from my entry point. Let's go ahead and move on there. So that's basically a break even at this point, the LNR. And TIH, which I bought Friday as well, this one has done quite well. So this one, you can see, has moved up again. And it actually triggered, it got above $69. And so if you look at my move to stop loss, it's 68.98. So this actually triggered. So I moved my stop loss on this stock to break even. So now essentially 3 out of the 7 stocks that were in play, we've been able to move them up. So they've all moved up at least 5%, which is cool. Obviously none of them are being sold yet. The best one so far is the AFM, which is up 7.5%. So that's halfway to success. Obviously our sell point is right here, which is $61, so we still got a ways to go for that. And then CIGI has not had a great day. It's down another 1% or so. So again, volume is very low on this stock, very, very low. But it's down about $1 today. And MX has given some back. It's down almost 2% today. So you can see that has sold off quite a bit. But again, it didn't reach our 5%, so it's still fine. It's actually down $40 overall because we entered at $74.50. And KXS is up 0.75% on the day. So it was up quite a bit more, up to $83, almost $84 early on in the day, and it sort of sold off here. But KXS is still up $500, and this is another one we moved the break even, or we moved the stock to break even. So again, this is one of the 3 stocks that we, in theory, can't lose, or at least can't lose too much. So that's where we are now. We now have 6 active stocks because we got sold this morning. So it looks like there is one stock that appears to have triggered on the, let me just have a look on the screener. Looks like we have one stock, which is GOOS. So that is one that I will keep my eye on. Let me just pull it up here. So it's up 5.65% on the day. So as long as this continues on its pattern, I will very likely purchase it right at the end of the day today. And then I'll be full again. So that's where we're at now. I don't think there's much else to discuss, but I'm fairly satisfied with the setup. I'm enjoying this. It's just sort of patience and slower and not as much work or thought, but still fun. So I will update this video again at the end of trading today after I have very likely entered the GOOS stock. We'll see how we. All right, the market's just closed 2 minutes ago, and I purchased GOOS. I got in at 71.42, technically 71.423. I tried to limit order it at 71.23 as it was bouncing around near the end of the day, but ended up having to purchase it with about 4 minutes left in the market. But it didn't crash off or anything. I think it ended at 71.46 or 71.50. So that's good. And even though this number isn't updated yet, it'll update shortly. And the good news is our results are actually bang on right now with the TSX. So if you consider the fact that we were only half invested, if you look at a calendar, we've made our first stock purchase less than 2 weeks ago, and 1, 2, 3, 4 business days before we made our next purchase, and then 5 business days, 6 business days. So we've probably only had about 60% of the in total bankroll invested averagely, and we're even with the market right now. So very pleased with this so far. I don't know what else to say outside of that. I think we're looking close. I'm trying to look at some of these. The 3 that banked off to go above the 5%, so they're all locked in. CIGI is the only one that's a little bit disappointing. However, it was the one that I'm going to actually pull up the chart for it to show you what I mean, because it's actually kind of strange. Let me just get this thing loaded. Let's bring it back to like a 5-day. So essentially my entry point was right here. So this was the trigger point. So this was the example I was using. Had I bought it near the end of day here, when I saw that it had met the requirements, as opposed to buying it at market open. So it closed at 88.80 something. It opened at 90. Oh boy, like 96 almost, 95 something. So when I entered at 95.50. So you can see the massive difference between entering at market close in this particular example, a $6 swing. So hypothetically, had I started entering the stock at market close, it would actually be a profitable stock by about $1, so like 0.9%, instead of sitting at minus almost 5%. So that's a fairly significant difference, and it's really the only stock in the portfolio right now that is not showing some good movement. So anyway, that's my update for today. I hope you enjoyed, and again, with this setup, nothing is looking like it's going to be triggering any stop losses, so it might be days before I update again, but we'll see.
Yes, indeed.